change the stream title? Alrighty, cool beans. We are into it here, and looks like the stream is a-going. What do we have here? 5 versus battles with a primal deck. Well, I'd love to get that done in draft too, but just to kind of warm up my brain a little bit here, I'm going to play a little bit more with the ranked deck that I have, and also I do kind of like just trying to rank up in ranked mode as well. So, may fortune smile on both myself and my opponent. And let's do it up. Sam needs to draw a few more sigils to get there, but the torch helps for sure. So if I don't really know what blue-red is, to be honest. Okay, you throw another color in there, things start making a little bit more sense to me. That was a pretty good draw. Talir's favored. And I'd love to draw like an Amber Acolyte, or even just a Justice Sigil next turn. I'd prefer a Justice Banner, obviously, so that I can play my Vault. Alright, not there just yet. We'll hang on to it. So I'm pretty sure this is a control deck, based off the fact that my opponent has not played anything in the first 4 turns of the game. Turn 5 rolls up, still nothing from my opponent. That's fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We'll have to discard next turn if we don't get anything out of it. We want to hold open Torch. Alright, that's a pretty good one. I was going to say we want to hold open Torch to kill a weapon from my opponent. Now we're not really going to be able to. Zen and Obelisk. Oh, I can't even play Combray Healer. Actually, really want to hang on to Grenadin Drone too. I'm just going to ditch the Combray Healer, I think. The Torch is obviously significantly worse in that my opponent has 4 armor to beef up any weapon that they draw. This might just be, hey, first match of the day. Not doing so hot. Alright, another Torch means we can still clear their weapon. Okay. So Torch is a fine draw here now too. Can't Torch right now, obviously. Blarg. Well, Desert Marshal plus Torch can take off the weapon at this point. So what am I going to discard? Kind of like all my cards. Maybe I just don't need the second Volt here. Alright, I'll just play the Grenadins. Gonna lose one of the Grenadins to... Actually, the Grenadins might even just let me trade Torch for weapon. I think my opponent's wise to that, though. Yeah, they are. Alright. They've seen the pauses. They know I've got a Torch in my hand. So, we're going to lose our guys to a Lightning Storm here. Yeah, so every time my opponent attacks, the game pauses as if I want to cast my Torch. So my opponent, I think at this level, is pretty wise to the fact that I've got a Torch in my hand. Okay, well... What if I draw a Death Toucher next turn, then they just smack the Death Toucher with their weapon? Okay. I tried. Maybe my first hand was a little bit better. Oh, I lose so much juice for that. I don't know why I took on to calling it juice, but it's just what it feels like to me. It's It's not quite a liquid, obviously. It doesn't really... It kind of flows, I guess. Maybe that's why I'm calling it juice. There's a certain flow to it. Alright, we don't have the double white for the Temple Scribe. We've got 2 owls, which are late game cards. I'm going to redraw this one as well. Alright, and this has plenty of mana. Some card draw. Looks good to me. Lead with a banner. Next turn we go Seat Temple Scribe. Turn after that we'll play Amber Acolyte, and then hopefully we can start running out some vaults. We got it. Might even, because I already have 5 mana, I might even just want to wait till turn 6 and then play both of these. Because my hand's a little bit light on the dudes right now. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. We've got a torch in case anything crazy happens. Yeah, I'm going to hold on to both of these bad boys until it is time. Vara's Favor to take out our guy. Sounds good. So we're definitely playing against a big control deck here. Actually, that could be in a burn deck too, couldn't it? It actually could. So yeah, it could be Film, aggro. Well, now I can play both of these 2 in the same turn. That seems like a pretty good deal. Let's Amber Acolyte first, just to thin the deck a little bit. Then Temple Scribe, draw 2 cards. Zen and Obelisk is a good one, and a Grenadin Drone is a great one. You can play both of those cards next turn and actually keep open Torch mana too. Alright. That's the last Vara's Favor that's going to work on us, though. No more Vara's Favor.
Winds protect me.
Interesting. Alright, maybe we'll let one more Vara's Favor work on us. Alright, we got our Cloud of Ash. You know, I was thinking about this off stream, because I added this in yesterday. I haven't gotten to use it yet. Can Endurance minions be exhausted? Can they just not be stunned, but are they allowed to be exhausted? I think they are. So I think that this does even exhaust Titan. Alright, I'm still glad I made the play the way that I did, because we are going to need some more creatures here. I could go Owl, Combray Healer this turn to draw 2. I think I'm just going to go Seat, Zen and Obelisk, and next turn I'll have 2 owls. I'll have 2 6/6 owls and draw 2 cards for 4 mana. All that is pretty good. Alright. And they're going to have access to that. Sounds good. Oh, whoops.
Close your eyes. Listen.
Alright. Fuck that up. You are definitely supposed to play the Sigil first. Wow. That was really bad. Alright, there goes my owl. Hopefully my Combray Healer can stick around for a second. Yeah, that was really quite terrible. And Death Strike. Alright, now I gotta draw a unit right now or I'm kind of boned. Alright, good, good, good.
Which would you like?
Let's take a Sandcrawler. Alrighty. We're kind of out of units again. But now if we control a unit, I think we're going to outdraw my opponent. It's just a matter of if they can play something big to kind of lock us out. It's going to be tough, and they're just trading 1-for-1 on everything right now. So right now I'm feeling pretty good. Okay, could this be it? Lightning Strike. Yeah, I don't have any way to save it. But I do have a way to potentially end the game here. With this Great Parliament, this will get me 3 6/6s, or 2 6/6s, draw 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. That should mean I have no problem triggering my vault every single turn. My opponent's putting up a good fight here against triple vault. Alright, here is the Wrath for the Owls. I've yet to draw a +1/+1 and Aegis to all my dudes. I think I'm going to run out a group of 3/3s here. My opponent is slowly losing cards over me, as we can see here. Alrighty, how many cards does that leave me with in hand? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm good to just stay here. Eventually... Alright. Eventually, though, my opponent is going to draw a threat that they can play against us. Eventually. It's not just Seek Powers all the way down. Though it seems like that's all my opponent's trying to do. Pretty funny if so. Alright, this is going to give me way too many cards. I can discard some sigils at some point here. Wanted to have a more mana efficient turn. Alright, there's another Great Parliament. Some more sigils. So stand together finally. We'll end the turn. I feel like I might want Cloud of Ash. Alright. I can discard 2 sigils and get away with that. Actually, I have 4 Vault of Praxis on me. And only 1 Zen and Obelisk. Could actually deck myself, which would be an interesting win condition for my opponent's Staff of Stories deck. You wouldn't think that that's how a Staff of Stories deck wins. Alright. Glad I saved my Cloud of Ashes. So, actually I can just vanquish this guy this turn. Alright, let's vanquish. See how that works out. Let's smash. Actually, I'm going to play the Great Parliament first. Because I think I am going to want to stand together here. And this makes my Arcanum monitor bigger as well. Sure, I'll just stand together right here. It's going to be a lot of damage. I'm not sure how my opponent's deck really answers this. It also means I don't have to discard any cards this turn. Alright, Vara returning anything? Withering Witch. That's reasonable. I'll counter the Withering Witch ability. And now they have to have another Witch plus Lightning Storm. They're going to annihilate an Owl. And then concede. Sounds good. Yeah, we had lethal just like with 1 Owl plus Lightning Bolt. That is our first win with a Justice deck here. Wait, did that count? Oh, Primal deck. I can't read. Okay. Let's play like 2 more games of this then, and then I will go into draft. I always forget sometimes what primal means, what those things mean in this game. Alright, let's redraw this because no fire mana. Sand looks fine. I mean, Sandstorm Titan can sometimes just carry the game for you. I'm going to lead on Praxis banner because we might just draw all banners from here on out. I'm killing Argenport guy this turn. Nope, looks like a Grixis control deck here. So this is typically what I see, like from our last opponent, who was just Feln control. Typically when you see this kind of deck, it's a Grixis control deck. Alright, out of lands beyond our initial ones from our opener. Deck is definitely a little bit land light, but it also plays a lot of lands. Go play a Sandy. It's just going to get annihilated. No. No annihilation for Sandy. Double bolt. Well, let's play this out so they can't double bolt it. And then let's send. They clearly have something, and I'm hoping that that something is a double lightning bolt. Or an execute, obviously. Wouldn't work on him either. Wisdom of the Elders, try to find a third lightning bolt. You can also lightning bolt plus lightning strike him. Okay, let's send. Could just be waiting to Withering Witch. I'm going to toss out a Temple Scribe. Card draw's good. Hitting our lands so that we can play a Great Parliament when turn 8 comes around is going to be good. Seat of Fury. What is their 6-drop? Black Sky Harbinger. Sure. I'll trade Lightning Bolt plus Temple Scribe for this guy. Seems like it might be a little bit of an annoying card. We still did damage to our opponent that turn. We dealt 3 damage. Maybe we would have dealt more if we just kept our guy on the board and played Sandy. But if I just kept our guy on the board, I wasn't going to swing. Maybe this is a better option to Cloud of Ash, though.
Safe travels, friend.
Alright, if they clear our whole board, that's a little bit unfortunate, but I think I have to go for Parliament here. With the Cloud of Ash in hand. Oh, wait. Oh, my mistake. It was already lethal with Zen and Obelisk. Oh, I definitely just missed lethal. So yeah, I should have played Amber Acolyte, hit the 8th Power Sigil, and then this would have been 13, which would have been enough to take out my opponent. But I just wasn't paying enough attention. For some reason, I was thinking I needed Cloud of Ash. Alright, my opponent's going to activate their Feln Bloodcaster, so there's no way they can get back into this. They can play like a Lightning Bolt or a Pilfer here. They need to make me discard this Cloud of Ash. Or they can explode. Definitely made a mistake there. Had Cloud of Ash lethal. And just wasn't paying attention. Sweet, free gold chest. I'll open up all my packs at the end of the stream like I do. 46 out of 100. I'm going to go one more game here, like I said. I feel like I have kind of hit a wall at Gold 3. I don't think it's because of the deck, though. I can make the deck a little bit better. It's tough because I want it to be better against control sometimes and aggro other times. And you wind up playing against different types of decks. Alright, Hope Sandstorm Titan is as good in this game as it was last game. So let's keep the sigil ones, and let's keep one banner.
Let me tell you.
Alright, blind storyteller. Interesting Huru take here. I wonder, it could be a reanimation deck of some sort. Not too sure what we're going to be playing against here. Alright, it is a Bant deck, so some interesting combos I'm sure will arise. Stormlinks, not super impressive. Makes sense why they didn't exhaust their storyteller. And staff up. Well, that's not terribly threatening. I'd like to get both Sandys in play before I stand together. At the same time, short of silencing my guys, it's going to be a little bit tough for my opponent to even deal with these Sandys. So we'll see what they've got up their sleeves. I'm going to take this for sure. Waiting till I have mana up is just going to benefit me a lot in terms of playing around potential tricks from my opponent. I also, once I play out my second Sandy, which I am going to do against this opponent, I am pretty significantly ahead on board as well. So now it's going to take my opponent 3 hits to kill me, and it's only going to take me 2 hits to kill them. So they're going to have to stay back on defense or something here. So I could double block, trade a Sandy for whatever trick he has. Seems reasonable. It is probably just a giant growth. I'm going to say no blocks, though. Because, again, Sandy's just... it's as big as the guy that he's got going on. So, we win this race. He's looking for removal spells, clearly. And these guys aren't that easy to remove, especially in this color combination. Pretty much needs to find a Wasp. If he finds a Wasp, that's pretty awkward for me. Looks like he doesn't have one just yet. So now he's got to put up some kind of defense for the next turn. I'm going to get these time sigils out of my hand. It's a little bit awkward that now if I draw a Vault of Praxis, I don't have the mana to... or I don't have the creatures to draw cards off of it, but... I don't think that my opponent is running or representing Harsh Rule, at the very least. Alright. Thunderstrike Dragon. Units can't fly. I think I'm going to blow them out with a Stand Together here. Let's play Sandstorm Titan pre-combat. Attack, attack. I think my opponent... Greetings. I think my opponent will go block one and block the other one. Then I will stand together. I won't taunt them. I debated it. If I could say greetings back at them, I would, but I took greetings off my thing, so I can't. There's a little bit more juice for me. And with that, let's hop into draft. That's what y'all came for, the draft portion of the stream. Got 12,000 gold here from yesterday's stream, so pretty good to start off with here. And am I not looking at that correctly, or did I get... I've never noticed that before, but I think you get Shiftstone for opening the packs in the draft even, which I just never realized before, but that's pretty cool. Trickster's Cloak animated looks pretty sick, I have to say. This might be one of the cards whose art changes the most from animation. And you can also see how, with like how little, I don't want to say how little effort, because this is somebody's job to like do this, but animated cards don't have to be anything that crazy. It's just, you put a gradient here, you put a gradient here. They've kind of got a motion blur on some of these parts. The shine, I actually don't know how to do. I guess that's just a gradient of pink going up it with shading and learning that math, but cool nonetheless. All right, so enough talking about Trickster's Cloak. I think I'm going to take Steelfang Chakram. I'm pretty happy with that card in general. The Combray cards in the draft are Temple Scribe and Elder's Feather. District Infantry, more of a Rakano card. This is just the best card, so I'm just going to take the best card. It's a reasonable splash, too, so we'll see what happens out of it. Furnace Mage is a pretty solid card. I like that card a lot. Stone Scar Banner, Dark Wisp, Devour, Combust, all cool as well in the Stone Scar deck. Madness might be better. I don't know. I'm like a little bit hesitant for like synergy-based stuff in draft, but it's probably reasonable. Yeti Troublemaker is cool, and I was thinking Steelfang Chakram could be pretty good in a blue-red style draft. Obviously, you don't get like the fixing that you would from Feln or Rakano or Stone Scar, or Feln, but it could still be good. That said, I think Furnace Mage is probably the best card, and I'm pretty happy to pick it up here. Then I can get another Furnace Mage, keep the red going. There's some solid Rakano here. It's actually a really good Stone Scar card too. And Stormcaller continues to be good as far as blue-red goes. But let's just lock ourselves into red and get super rewarded. Oni Ronin here is fantastic. We already have a really good like top-end curve for our red deck. We've been seeing a lot of Obsidian Golems, so that's fine. Though the last pack was Rakano, the previous pack was all Stone Scar, but we did see a lot of Rakano cards last pack. So I do think Rakano's open, and I do think Oni Ronin is one of the best cards for that deck. Then we get into a pack like this. We clearly do not need Ruin. I don't think anybody's going to debate that. Zenin Destroyer might just be the pick here. I think I'm more likely to be Rakano than Stone Scar, but we'll see how the packs shake out. I'm not going to play a False Prince at this point. I don't even think I should take it, because I think the chances are much higher that I'd play Zenin Destroyer than I would play False Prince. Granite Acolyte here, Stalwart Shield, or Combray Stranger. There's also Ephemeral Wisp, which is a cute little card. And I guess there is a Combust, too. But I think I'm generally going to be more happy with Granite Acolyte. And this works a lot better in Rakano, whereas Combust is not a Rakano card. Rakano Banner, Sidearm, Dark Return, Guerrilla Fighter. I guess here's where I actually make a choice, right? I feel like Dark Return is pretty solid. It is a pretty solid card. You get to rebuy a card for 1 mana, and it's going to come into play with a +1/+1. The Stone Scar deck does kind of work a little bit better with the Chakram. Like, you put Chakram on Zenin Destroyer, send it in. You're like, alright, do what you want, Zenin Destroyer. Do it up, dude. Quick Draw also works pretty well with Zenin Destroyer, too. I kind of like Quick Draw in the Stone Scar deck. Alright, let's try Aggro Stone Scar again. Played it once before. It was pretty powerful. I guess I can take Hellfire Rifle just for signaling purposes. I'm not going to play it, though. I will play a Temper. I will potentially play a Ticking Grenadin. I would also play a District Infantry, so this one's close. But I'll probably play the Grenadin regardless. Danilo Mata, thank you very much for the follow, my friend. Take a Sabotage. Don't really plan on playing discard spells, especially in this kind of deck. And then this pack kind of dries up a little bit. Feln Bloodcaster I only own 3 of. And it's a pretty solid card. So I could see rare drafting here. I mean, it's that or like a Rakano Banner when I'm not really even that set up to play Rakano. I mean, there's a chance. I only have 2 black cards so far, right? So I could definitely be Rakano this draft. Could even still be blue-red. Maybe I try out blue-red. I feel like there's a lot of sweet blue cards that work with, like, mostly just Chakram. I really just want to put Chakram on a flyer and on a cheap flyer, and the best way to do that is either, one, get, like, a Loyal Watchwing or a Aspirant, a Valkyrie Aspirant, or in black I could potentially get the 0-2 that turns into a 2-2. But Ice Sprite might just be the most powerful card, too. Let's try it out. Alright, here we have District Infantry, Cabal Recruiter. Don't really know if I need that. I think I'm going to take Granite Acolyte. Granite Acolyte is still good in red-blue, red-black, red-green. It's good in all of them. It's an Acolyte. Magma Javelin is fine, but yeah. Let's take this guy. Then what do we have? Some double blues, some Recogulators. Yeah, I'm going to take a Sapphire Dragon. I think red-blue could work. The other play would be Rakano and take the Huru Fledgling. But something's just calling out here for me to draft blue. Obviously, this pack, a little bit punishing. There's Frontline Cyclops or Amethyst Acolyte as like the best cards. We could pick up more mana fixing and then we could play all of them, but I don't think I'm going to want to do that. I think I'm going to want to either play the Cyclops or the Acolyte. Let's just take Cyclops, I suppose. I guess that's always a fine card. Yeah, and then here's the Valkyrie Aspirant. Well, I would play the Puma. There's still enough cards left that we could potentially go into Rakano here. I don't know if we want to go for Rakano. The Puma is probably better than the Valkyrie Aspirant, but it's actually pretty close. Alright, I'm going to take the Aspirant. I do like Warhelm. Violent Gust is fine. Not going to play Time. But, yeah, let's take Warhelm here. And then what do we have? A Thorn Beast. Yeah, Thorn Beast is definitely the best card in this pack. Because we're not going to play Temple Scribe. Flight Lieutenant is funny, but I don't think we want to be big Rakano. So I'll take a Thorn Beast. Take a Yeti Spy, but I'm going to cut it immediately. Alrighty. So still not sure what we're doing. Maybe this can help us figure it out. Enemies can't play spells. I do want to point out, I guess you do get 400 Shiftstone every time you do a draft, which is pretty sweet. Enemies can't play spells. That's pretty crazy. I think you have to just take Torch here if you want to win, which I would like to. I don't really care about a Scourge of the Frostholm. That's not going to do anything for me either which way. Sure, it's some Shiftstone, and I wouldn't blame you guys if you took Scourge of the Frostholm, either if you're a new player or if you are... Like, this is probably a sick reanimation target, but other than that... Actually, yeah, it's a pretty good reanimation target, right? Your enemies can't play spells. How are they going to remove it? They need to silence it before they can vanquish it. So that's pretty good. Or just double block it with 2, like, Sandstorm Titans. That would work, too. And you're still allowed to play spells with Scourge of the Frostholm. So, that works. But yeah, let's take a Torch here. Beast Caller's Amulet is sweet. Plague is sweet, but Torch is OP. And then we have an option for another Torch here over Lurking Sanguar. I still don't know what my second color is. Static Bolt could be my second color, but Rakano Outlaw could also just be my first color. So let's take Rakano Outlaw. Here, I feel like this pack makes me want to move into blue. There's a Stone Scar banner, which is decent. But I think these blue cards are just going to be better than these black cards. And we can look... how many cards have we drafted that we're not playing? 8. So that means we've drafted 19 cards already. Yeah, so this will be our 20th. We only need to draft a few more cards here, then obviously we're going to get pushed into Stone Scar again. Alright. Yeah, because we're only playing half of our splash color cards, so I'm not sure exactly how this will shake out. And then we see another Rakano card. Okay, so maybe we're back in Rakano, and then obviously there's no good Rakano cards. All rare draft the highest rarity one. Take an Eastwind Herald. I think it's just better than Devour. I don't really want to devour my guys. I might just need an Oni Striker. Might just need it. Alright, we're getting pretty close here. One last pack. Ooh, and Paladin Oathbook, if that's not a sweet one. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we're Rakano. Oops. Alright, 36. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 leaves us with 28 cards. So we only need to pick up a few more cards and we can play Rakano. And Paladin Oathbook is just the best card here by far. So let's go back into Rakano. I think we can do it. It's either that or Plague. We'll see. I could change my mind, or Frostkin. I could change my mind again next pick. I also want to cut like Oni Striker. Frontier Jito, not super powerful. Alright, so here's where we really got to make a decision. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 Justice cards. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 potential good blue cards. Crown Watch Deserter is pretty good. Ice Sprites are also pretty good. I'd just be splashing for Ice Sprites, Static Bolt, maybe Eastwind Herald, maybe not even. Yeah, it's a really close one. 5-color draft. Could also take Lethrai Ranger. That's pretty good, but I think black is looking the weakest right now. The question is 2 Ice Sprites better than a Paladin Oathbook? I'm leaning towards... no. Combined with the fact that we're going to get a Crown Watch Deserter as our consolation prize. Stuck's a little low on 2 drops. I would also like to pick up some Rakano Strangers too. Alright, I'm going to go for Crown Watch. Vanquish is really good, Watchwing is good, and Spire Chaplain is fantastic. So we certainly got rewarded here, as we can pick up a pretty fantastic Justice card. Question is, what? I like Vanquish, and I think that's probably going to be the pick for me. I didn't realize this was a double-ticking Grenadin deck. I really like Watchwing as well. I don't think I need a Spire Chaplain. I don't have any double green cards, and the 3-drop spot kind of gets overloaded in Rakano anyways. So let's just take a Vanquish for late game. That seems pretty solid. I can't play Awakened Student, unfortunately. Could play District Infantry, but I think I'd actually like a Huru Fledgling. None of our mana's going to work. Maybe we can splash? I'll pick up the Static Bolt here, see what happens. I think I want a 2-drop more than anything. Magma Javelin's pretty good, but I think just getting ourselves some 2-drops is going to be good. Especially since Static Bolt isn't actually in the deck. Paladin Oathbook doesn't do that much immediately, though it can power up an Oni Ronin or something like that. And Vanquish is not actually a 2-drop, so... Alright, Rakano Banner. Seems strong. Rampage I really like as well. That gives us our only combat trick in the deck. Back Alley Bouncer, Sabotage, sure. Okay. So the only question really is, would this deck want to splash for these 3 cards? It's really the only thing that we're looking at. Let's cut Levitate, Sabotage, and Refresh. And Back Alley Bouncer. Oh, it looks like it might need to. Somewhere in all this I miscalculated my lands, I guess. I don't really want to play Oni Striker either. Alright, I guess I kept myself too open and at some point miscalculated what we were actually doing here. That's fine. We've got enough cards to play at the end of the day. Yeah, it all kind of worked out. I could even play a little bit more of a split and put in the Flyer. Deck is currently playing Oni Striker, which is a charge quick draw for 5 mana. I'm not super happy about that one. $28-card deck. It's currently sitting at 18 lands because it currently has a Rakano banner in it. I almost want to cut Oni Striker and put in a Sapphire Dragon. But then I'm playing... It'll be an interesting mix when you've got Ticking Grenadin and you've got some big expensive cards in the deck. One of which is double blue. The double blue is really what's keeping me from just putting this Sapphire Dragon right in. Alright, how about Levitate? Does Levitate give us any interesting value? It kind of does. Especially with Frontline Cyclops. And maybe this is just so much easier to splash that it could be better than Oni Striker. Could also just play Eastwind Herald. I'm going to put in Levitate and I think cut Oni Striker. Oh wait, this would be an 18-land deck again. Yeah, this is currently an 18-land deck. If I put in Eastwind Herald, it's back down to 17 lands. And this card's fine with Chakram. We add in the power. Yeah, decent mix, mostly fire, so that we can play the Oni Ronin's turn 1. Levitate is kind of just a burn spell that draws you a card. 4 Primal Sigils for 4 Primal cards. Our green is definitely more important than our blue, because our blue can all be late game stuff. That said, I think I'd like a slightly more balanced color palette. What did it give me before? It gave me this. I mean, the green we want earlier than the blue. And the blue can come in late game. Alright, yeah, let's stick with this. We want to be playing cards like Crown Watch Deserter on 3. Ice Sprite, Static Bolt, Eastwind Herald, and Levitate can all be fine late game cards. Alrighty, this one's a brew. Teamer, kind of, I guess it's an aggro deck. It's got 2 ticking Grenadins in it. It's honestly just not that great of a deck, but hopefully the pilot is good enough that it will work out. We've got a Levitate. I'm just going to ship for red mana. Oni Ronin with no mana to cast it is no bueno. We're on the play. Let's redraw that Oni Ronin. Alright, didn't get there, but we have a pretty solid hand with Levitate and cards that we can actually cast here. Levitate, Frontline Cyclops is the combo. So we'll see what we can do with that. We have no reason to cycle Levitate just yet. We might want to think about an end of turn Levitate here. We'll see. So Torch can kill this. Static Bolt can kill this. I think I just want to send in. Problem is if my opponent has snowballs, they can clear, like, they clear one of my guy, they get to clear the other one too. Alright, let's just Static Bolt here. Potentially set up for an end of turn Torch. Yeah, we're going to Torch that end of turn. Alrighty. And the reason to Levitate, I don't know if I said this out loud, was so that you could potentially draw the land for Crown Watch Deserter and the Crown Watch Deserter itself. Oh, that's unlucky. Alrighty. Oh, they're at 18. And we've got a Frontline Cyclops, which can hopefully do a lot of work. But I'm a little weary here. Staff of Stories, that's no good at all. Next turn, Cyclops, or maybe Crown Watch Deserter. Yeah, that Lightning Storm was pretty brutal.
Take it to the skies.
Alrighty. 2/1 flyer. 2/2 not flyer.
Draw, mister.
Sure. Lightning Storm is sometimes awkward to play because you have all 2 toughness creatures yourself, but good on my opponent for being willing to play that. And what do they have here? A Torch for my Outlaw. Okie dokie. And they're going to scheme. Wow, the greed. Scheming with a Staff of Stories. Now I feel like we're pretty far behind. Should I Levitate to look for land for Cyclops? Feel like I'm going to need this Levitate. Let's just draw the land. Shoot. Okay, well, Granite Acolyte on itself, this could very well work. My opponent could swing with the Cobalt Acolyte, leave back the Obsidian Golem on defense, and this Levitate might be able to clear the Staff of Stories. Nope. Alright, I'm going to hang on to the Levitate for one more turn here. Gorgon Fanatic. Maybe I do just have to run out the Levitate then. Alright, let's Levitate here. I need to play a blocker for this Gorgon. Alright, a little bit punished here. But at least we get to play this guy. So we can attack, our opponent can like triple block, or they can just try to chump block it and race it, or they can annihilate it and then hit us for 7 and draw a shitload more cards. Can we deck our opponent in any capacity? I don't think so. Wyvark's a really good one. And we're down to 9 here now. Means our opponent probably has us dead next turn. Just going to lay out my hand here. So let's see, they can attack us for 5 in the air, plus 6 by pinging us. Alright, Temper clears their staff. At this point, staff I think is my only way I can win. But also, there's no way I can win. There we go. Quick draw on the Wyvark, and then hit us for 9. Well played. There were a lot of plays my opponent could do to win the game that turn. They just had to not mess it up. Alright, that's going to drop us down a little bit farther in the leaderboards. Unfortunately, we can't just retire this deck immediately so that it doesn't hurt our rating. But you know what? We'll scrub out with this one. I'll rattle off a quick 7-0, and we'll be back to better than where we started. This hand looks solid. It's got one of each type of mana. It's got some spot removal spells for the early game. It's got the Levitate, which we can cycle. Just doesn't have an Oni Ronin or something like that to start getting in some damage, but deck doesn't have that many Oni Ronins in it. Eastwind Herald, that's an Oni Ronin. So now I just want to draw Chakram, and then I don't really care what else we do. Boom. That was a pretty solid Temper there, and Crownwatch Deserter as a 4/4 on turn 3 with Eastwind Herald in the air. This game is looking pretty good for us.
You're not fit to rule.
That's fine. I will let my opponent get a Warcry out on us. I'm not going to block their guy. I'm just going to torch it.
You're not fit to rule.
There's maybe a scenario where my opponent does an attack and then I do, and then they pump and then I torch, or something weird like that. Or they double block. We'll see. I would love if they double blocked here. Don't think that's going to happen. Okay. Let's play a Ticking Grenadin on defense, and let's just torch this now so that they don't get a Warcry trigger from it. So now I'm protected from the Oni Ronin. I still have Rampage to protect Crownwatch Deserter if needed, if my opponent plays like another 2-power creature. And I can always Levitate too. Overwhelm Endurance. Okay. No blocks. So I will have to, like, Rampage this here. I think what's a more likely scenario is I just Rampage as a blocker. But I clearly have to take this guy out. I can't race it because it's got Endurance, so... Is there any world in which I want to try to triple block here? I could actually just triple block 7. They could trade for both of these. That might be the best option. Means that my opponent has to show their combat trick and then I'll show mine.
Got him in my sights.
Okay. Well, now they've shown their trick. So now I only have to trade 2 for 1 with the Rampage. I think I'm going to go end step Levitate and try to find another mana for Huru Fledgling. Cool. Got there anyways. Now I have my opponent on a 3-turn clock. They've got me on an 8-turn clock. Just have to swing for 5, 5, and 5. Alright, they have a Huru Fledgling of their own. Well, time to smash. Makes sense. I'll save Static Bolt. Some better threats could come along. I'll block. If they want to trade a kill spell or a pump spell for my Eastwind Herald, that's fine. Oh, Outland Sniper. Alright, that's pretty punishing then.
We take what paths we must.
Alrighty, well in 2 turns I can potentially ultimate this Aspirant.
The price of progress.
For the time being, gonna have to kill an Outland Sniper so that I don't die. Take 5 and 5 and 5 3 times. So sigils are good if I can draw runner. Non-sigils are fine too.
Your sword.
This is also reasonable. I could trade here. I think I'm just going to get in my own points of damage. We're not quite racing my opponent, but we're very close to being raced. Or we're very close to racing my opponent.
I fly.
Alright, that's unlucky. Now I have to trade this for this. Probably.
Die with honor.
Yeah, if my opponent attacks, they can get in some damage. I'm not going to have enough time to ultimate this. Need to draw something like Frontline Cyclops. A good play for my opponent would potentially be to just attack with the Loyal Watchwing, but we don't know what's going to come out of that. Well, if they put the Crown Watch Longsword on it, they're definitely attacking with the Watchwing. But now I can just do this. Alright, I'll take that. Take 3, go down to 5. Just need to draw a creature here. Alright, a little bit unlucky. I'm not going to block. Let's attack. I'm going to go down to 2 here. I'm dead to another sniper, dead to a pump spell or a weapon.
With this, you can't miss.
And I'm dead to that guy. Alrighty. 0-2. And I am now nowhere near the top 100. But like I said, a quick 7-0. We can rattle that off after this. And we'll be in a good spot. No red mana. There's a lot of red mana in the deck. Let me think about this. On the play, playing Argenport Soldier. Let's just redraw. Just hope for slightly better mana. And I'd say we got slightly better mana with this hand. Then go for the Primal Sigil. Then I guess we're just playing a turn 3 4-1. Can't say I love that. But what are the alternatives? Now I can obviously play an Oni Ronin. Next turn I can give it plus attack and then levitate it. Or Furnace Mage. I'm just going to play Oni Ronin. I don't love just running out the Granite Acolyte as a 4-1 here. I don't really think that that does anything for us.
Safe travels, friend.
Huh. This is really interesting. Now Oni Ronin can attack for free next turn. Oathbook was pretty solid there. So Oni Ronin can attack into this. Hopefully I can torch whatever they play. Or Furnace Mage whatever they play. Silence and stun. Okay. Honestly, that's fine.
We shall find the way.
Elysian Stranger. I'm going to hang on to my torch for a second here. Alright, well that's a great card. So,
You're not fit to rule.
regardless of what's else going on, that's a good card. I can make it a 5/5, potentially torch a blocker. Praxis Displacer is going to put it back in my hand. But I'm still feeling okay here. My opponent can attack me for a little bit of damages. I'm going to get my Oni Ronin back. I think I'd like to hang on to this torch for a potential double block. I'm going to trade Oni Ronin for Praxis Displacer here, though. Is that good? Or would I rather torch them so I can get in for 4? No, I'd rather torch and get in for 4. I mean, this is their biggest creature so far. Do they have a safe return? Safe return's pretty annoying here. Alright, Rampage is actually a really good draw, though. So I'm going to attack for 4. I'm racing them now. And that puts them in a pretty awkward spot.
You're not fit to rule.
Then I play Crown Watch. And now next turn I have Granite Acolyte plus Rampage on the Crown Watch. That's going to be impossible for them to block. Well, they're going to bounce the Crown Watch this turn. And will they send? They probably can send here. Yeah. So I say no blocks. I'm going to attack. They're going to block. I'm going to Rampage and then play Crown Watch Deserter. They have to block here, right? No, they've got Lightning Strike. I don't like this as much, but Rampage still saves a 5/4. That's still pretty good. They can trade here with this, obviously, now. They'll take 5 damage. And then I'll play a 4/4.
You're not fit to rule.
Ultimately, I think that worked out fine. Really want my opponent to play an attachment to try to win this race. Dawnwalker. It's a pretty good one, but Temper plus Lightning Bolt is going to mean that my opponent doesn't really have a chance here.
Your sword.
Granite Acolyte, smack for 5. They're going to double block with Temper and Amber Acolyte, and I'm going to temper the Dawnwalker. Thank you very much, Snake. I appreciate it. Try to provide insightful commentary and let you guys know what is going through my head. And thank you very much for the follow, my friend. Yeah, this has been a pretty interesting game. Paladin Oathbook creates a lot of interesting scenarios, which is cool. We have lethal. Right. We're 1 off. Because we can't get the Oathbook if we attack with both creatures. I could have just swung with Crown Watch Deserter, and then he probably would have had to chump block it, and then I had lethal with burn spells. I just wanted to play this as safe as I could have. Withdrawing Vanquish, we are pretty safe to do this now. I'm still going to keep Torch in my hand. Good game, friend. You play Shadow and Green. Oh, cool, cool. Yeah, sometimes just playing the other factions can be a little bit trickier because you get, like, streamlined into one particular subset. With draft, you kind of have to open yourself up. Oh, you just started playing last night. Very cool. Well, I hope you enjoyed the game. I assume you played Magic before, though I'm not sure. Most people come from Magic. Actually, you might not have played Magic if you are if you're that new into it. Could have come from Hearthstone or Soulforge or something like that. Or this could be your very first digital card game, in which case I think it's a pretty decent one to start with. Okay, Duelist, Elder Scroll. That's the Bethesda game that's pretty much Hearthstone, right? I believe the Elder Scrolls game was the one where there's like 2 lanes and you play your creatures in either lanes. Well, we saw how good Paladin Oathbook was last game, and it is the reason that I moved into green. We're definitely going to keep this one. Alright. Playing against another master here. Yeah, the 2-lane stuff was kind of interesting, and the system that Magic the Gathering set up really wasn't broken. I mean, there's people that complain about it. About to sneeze. The only thing, excuse me, that is tricky with Magic in terms of paper Magic, I really think is just the shuffling. There's also like an incredibly complicated rules engine that can make the deck tricky to play. So my opponent did have 1 Echo. I wasn't imagining that. So we do need to be on the lookout for echoing monsters here, but Oathbook, pretty insane card. Next turn I get to play Eastwind Herald to stop this Cloud Snake hitting me from 1. Oh, never mind. Oh, this is going to get buffed up. That's a pretty good buff. And they're going to buff it again into a Wyvark. And they're going to attack with it. Okay. Alright, smash for 4. I definitely don't want to play an Oni Ronin here because it will get gobbled up. What I think might happen, though, is my opponent will try to fight the Eastwind Herald, in which case I will rampage it. It could get me blown out a little bit, but I think it's worth it. We also get to crash for 4 here, which means we're arguably like racing our opponent already. And we've got some good plays for the next turn here. I think this might work out. I don't use, let's see if this works. I don't really use Discord. You can add me on Eternal, but the best way to get in touch with me really is just through like Twitch and YouTube. If you do have any questions, I can answer them here. Well, Levitate on False Prince is a pretty good one. I'm going to say no blocks on this turn. And then when my opponent blocks my Crown Watch Deserter, I'm just going to jump their False Prince. Yeah, let's keep attacking with our Warcry guy. That makes the most sense to me. So we give this flying and draw a card. Turns into a frog, and then I get to play a Rakano Outlaw. And I get to keep open Lightning Bolt mana.
Draw, mister.
I can also just play Oni Ronin. How do I lose this game? I think I only lose this game if my opponent has a Wrath effect. Yeah, I'm pretty good at responding to chat, I feel. There we go. That's a pretty solid win. We get some points back. And we're 2-2. We've leveled out here. So now anything else is solid. And you know what? We're undefeated in the games that we've drawn the Oath Book. So this is the draft format. Right on the, if you look at the client, there's 3 options on either side. On the left side, it is, I believe, Gauntlet, Forge, and something else. And on the right side is Casual, Ranked, and Draft. In Draft, what happens is the slapstick dictator, the slapstick dictator. Thank you very much for the follow, my friend. In the draft format, what happens, I'm sure there are videos out there, or you can watch like some VODs or something to see exactly how that goes. You'll unlock that mode eventually if it's not immediately available for you when you download the game. I think they make you do a forge first, and then you can do a forge first, and then you can do a gauntlet, and then you can do a draft. It's a pretty good hand. But basically, you make a deck, you play until you get 7 wins or 3 losses with it, and you get to keep all the cards you drafted, and then you get prizes based off how well you did in that mini tournament. It's like Arena, if you are familiar with Hearthstone, and it's called Draft in Magic. Not sure what it's called in Duelist. I don't remember the terminology for it. Alright, my opponent is kind of stumbling here as a Rakano deck that has yet to play anything.
You're not fit to rule.
We're just going to play our biggest creatures. Try to run them over with our Timur Battle Rage. Battle Blur Centaur can bounce here. Could go Granite Acolyte so that this can attack. Obviously, I can't Ice Sprite an Endurance creature, so that's a little bit awkward. I think for now I will just get a Warcry trigger, be happy with that, and play another Crownwatch Deserter. So in Draft, you open up 4 packs. Basically, you open up a pack, take 1 card from it, and then they kind of like get passed around a virtual table. And yeah, I'm not sure which is the best one to do. What did my opponent do here? Okay, they used a Mithril Mace. Oh, why didn't I attack with this last turn? That was kind of silly. I don't have a Paladin Oathbook out. Alright, let's just get a Warcry and smash here, and then I'm just going to dump out my hand. I'm going to save the Granite Acolyte for a minute here until I figure out what its best use is on. My opponent debating whether or not to block here. Yeah. So my opponent is at 1 life point higher than they should be. It's probably not a big deal. I think I would recommend like watching draft videos and then trying to draft once you feel comfortable with it. My opponent's played another Endurance creature. It's pretty unlucky. What can I do here now? I guess I really want to draw Oathbook, right? But that's pretty simple. Torch opens up a lot of plays. Send with Rakano Outlaw. He's free. I can also send with Crownwatch Deserter. My opponent will probably think it's just for 2 Warcries. Maybe I should just swing with the Rakano Outlaw. Thing is, if I attack with both, it's like 50-50. They're probably going to... I would block the Battle Blur to the Outlaw and the 4-4 on the 4-6. So that's what they should do. Though another thing I can do here is Granite Acolyte the Crownwatch Deserter. And that's going to make my opponent at least think twice about blocking, and maybe we just trade it off for the 4th Tree Elder and get to keep everything else, which is fine too.
Your sword.
Alright, let's see what this makes my opponent do. We're a little light on mana, so cool. It does get to go the distance. My opponent's going to attack for 4 in the air because that's free.
Melted dough.
They're going to kill my sword. Yeah, they're going to attack us for 4. I think I can probably get away with this. Oh, Paladin Oathbook. Alright, baby. That's sweet. What should I go for here if I have Paladin Oathbook? What happens if I attack with this as a 4/4? Will my opponent, like, triple block us? I shouldn't do anything against this because I can Ice Sprite this. If my opponent triple blocks this, it's a little bit unlikely. Or, sorry, a little bit unlucky. But I don't think they will triple block it. We also punish my opponent super hard for playing a Furnace Mage and then immediately top decking an Oathbook, which is pretty sweet. Alright. We'll Torch there. This means next turn we get to Ice Sprite whatever it is that they play and then swing with this, which then gets to trade off with the 4th Tree Elder. Undefeated in Paladin Oathbook games here. So, let's see if we can keep that going. Let's just draw Paladin Oathbook every game and finish the draft at a 6-7-2. How does that sound? I would definitely say try all the modes once you are at a point where you're going to feel comfortable enough with them. Oh, gosh. That's really insane. Aegis, Endurance, Flying. Don't have enough mana. Ah! I need to draw a Fire Sigil. This is a real player I'm facing. I'm playing somebody else that drafted another deck using the same process. So in Forge and Gauntlet, you play against AI, computer-controlled characters. Alright, what happens if I swing out? I lose my Crown Watch, my Rakano Outlaw, or maybe my Oni Ronin gets eaten, and my opponent takes 8. Goes down to 6. Grenadine Drone almost lethal. I'm going to give myself one more turn to hit off Furnace Mage. I can chump block this guy twice. I can also let him hit me twice. Alright. Go down to 9 here. Can hit me one more time.
Fly steady, Valkyrie.
Flying, Warcry 2. Alright, so this guy needs to get shut down. This needs to get Furnace Maged. Opponent's got a lot of attackers here. I'm not even sure if I can kill this Aegis. I think I can. But I'm really not even entirely sure. So, like, I have to clear this Ice Sprite. My opponent's just going to keep attacking with 4th Tree Elder. Is there any play here that lets me attack? No, but I might be able to chump block with Huru Fledgling at some point. I definitely should have gone for the all-out attack last turn. Put my opponent down to 6. That would have given me outs for, like, another Ticking Grenadin, or Torch plus Ticking Grenadin, and Oathbook. Don't think I can let my opponent hit me for 4 here. My attacks are so much worse than they were last turn. Maybe I did need to play the Furnace Mage because it's a big enough creature. Alright, I'm going to take the damage here. Go down to 3. I'm dead to Torch. That's pretty interesting. Maybe that'll do work for me next turn.
Melted dough.
What does this do? Don't tell me it removes the Aegis. Fuck. All that does is remove the Aegis. That's really bad. I just have to hope to draw something good next turn and then charge it in. My opponent's going to chump this and this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'll chump block with the Ice Sprite. Alright. Don't think I can win this one. I also get another turn of chump blocking with Hoover Fledgling. No, Rampage is going to do me in here. Alrighty. Top decked Rampage. Nothing much I could do. Yeah, I wasn't sure how Aegis interacted with Furnace Mage. I thought it might work out like that, but it's weird that it gives the Relic Aegis as well, effectively. So not a great showing. 2-3 there. Yeah, so, okay, yeah, Campaign is the other mode. All of these are solo modes, and then all of these are versus modes. If you find these fun, by all means, play them. But this is kind of the reason that, like, you play digital card games to an extent, too, is because the multiplayer modes, you get a lot more for them. Oh, I could have torched the 4th tree. Yeah, the trick is, like, so I attacked with the reason that I made the play that I did was I attacked with the Oath, or I'm sorry, the Deserter, the Crown Watch Deserter. I made it a 5/5 with that attack, and with my next attack, and the reason that I attacked with that guy and not the Outlaw is because attacking with the Deserter makes it a 5/5, which means, right, to make it a 6/6. And then from that point, I feel like I'm in a really good spot. But yeah, the fact that and like I had the Furnace Mage too, or no, I didn't have the Furnace Mage, but I had multiple Furnace Mages in my deck, I guess. Like, if it was any other weapon, I probably also win the game. Because I could blow it up. Maybe that's not true. Maybe I just didn't... I didn't really have enough mana for the Furnace Mage for a while. I do think I should have attacked all out into his team that one turn. It was pretty close, but you know what? It's in the past. I do appreciate that comment, though, Sandwell. Yeah, because I did... There was an opportunity where I could have killed the... where I could have killed the Owl. So let's go for another draft here and see what we can do. Sword of the Sky King and Ceremonial Mask, both as huge relic weapons. I think I'm going to go for the legendary relic weapon. I don't think anybody is going to fault me on that one. I have seen this card see some play, and I don't own any of it. Whether it's actually good, I'm not sure, but it seems like a sweet top end in a big Combray deck. We could also play this top end in a Rakano deck, but I am going to try to play Combray here, which is, I think, my specialty, and I am going to try to win. Let's open a bunch of Awakened students and just win the game here. What do you say? I don't like Crown Watch Paladin anymore. Zenin Guardian is pretty good. Cobalt Monument is a great card. Desperado, also pretty strong. I think the pick is between Cobalt Monument and Zenin Guardian, and because of my affinity for Combray, I am going to pick up a Guardian here. I could definitely see taking the Monument as well, though. Alright, Wind Shaper, so a little bit punished potentially. Could take another Zenin Guardian or an Amber Acolyte. Also a Teleport. Zenin Guardian is a really, really strong card, but Amber Acolyte's going to facilitate splashes for us potentially, and is also just quite fantastic. It could put us into Bant, which I do really like Bant too, because some of the removal in Primal is quite fantastic. So, Zedin Guardian or Amber Acolyte. Not really looking at the Minotaur Grunt, not really looking at Wind Shaper or Grasping Shadows or Runic Revolver. Teleport's also good. I'm going to take Acolyte. Acolyte's a constructed viable card. I think it's pretty good. And wow, is this pack Combray or what? Unlock potential for a permanent +1/+1. That's pretty fun. Combray Magister's good, but it's not really a good blocker, so it's kind of awkward. I think Safe Return's fun, but I don't actually think it's that great. Dispel is good, though. We're probably, hopefully, going to see more Dispels. And I think this card has the most potential. So, I'm going to take that. Combray Stranger seems solid here. Also, Inspire and a Horned Verlunk. I've been kind of digging the Strangers recently, though. Took me a while to get on board with the Stranger faction, but now that I am, I've got no problem just picking up a Stranger early here and being happy about it. Stalwart Shield is pretty solid. Combray Banner, I think, is just going to be what I go for. District Infantry is fine. Like I said, I think it's better in Rakano. So I'm going to go for Combray Banner. Temple Scribe seems good. Going to pass up a Mithril Mace for that one, but also just like a constructed playable card. I can take an Elysian Banner or a Rakano Stranger to help facilitate splashes here. I like Bant a little bit more than I like Naya, so I'm going to take that. Of course, then I see a pretty good Rakano card here, but that's fine. I'll take a Bold Adventure, and that's a solid one too. Combray Banner or Rakano Banner? Well, I'm definitely going to play Combray Banner, right? Might even just be splashing green at this point. And if I get enough green mana fixers, yeah, I can splash a double green card at the top of my curve. Right now I'm mono time, so I can afford to do whatever I want. Copper Hall Recruit is definitely going to get cut eventually, but I will take it for now. What do we have here? Another Elysian Banner, District Infantry, meh. Friendly Wisp, 1/1 flyer that can draw 2 cards. That's fine. Kind of like Stormcaller here, actually. And I also kind of like Steelbound Dragon. Steelbound Dragon, obviously double red, but you pick up some Amber Acolytes. Gets a little bit easy. Start taking the Rakano banners instead of the Elysian banners. Or we can just take Stormcaller. Could also just take Friendly Wisp. Don't really think that's where I want to go. I think I'm going to try out this Steelbound Dragon. We've got a lot of solid early game here. Could also just take Horn Verlunk. But, like, you get so many 4-drops in Combray. Steelbound Dragon can end the game. Friendly Wisp is also pretty reasonable of a card, though. I wouldn't hate just taking the Wisp. Could also just take Elysian Banner, but if I'm taking Elysian Banner, if not to splash Stormcaller, then what is it for? There's other good cards. There's cards with Echo and things like that. Yeah, maybe let's just make our mana good. And the rest will fix itself. Yeah, it seems reasonable. Wisdom of the Elders is sweet. I'm not going to be playing Huru Envoy, but I think Elysian Pathfinder could be pretty solid. 5 mana, 3/3. We're going to have solid mana fixing. And, ooh, Ageless Mentor. I like that card a lot, too. Right now it only pumps our Pathfinder, but we're not going to play any of these other cards, right? I guess we could play Second Sight. Yeah, Second Sight's definitely playable, but Ageless Mentor I do like a whole lot as a card. All right, another Stormcaller. I'm going to take that over a Determined Stranger, which is a 3/3 with a slight upside, slight downside. Kind of a weird one. Serpent Trainer, Lumen Shepherd, Huru, Fledgling. I think I'm likely to be more Elysian Splash Green at this point. And if that's the case, Serpent Trainer is probably just the best card because it's the best card regardless. So let's take it. Eastwind Herald, not really doing too much for us. Diplomatic Seal's interesting. Dormant Sentinel almost always wind up cutting because our Zenin Guardians are just better. Take a Combray Banner to help splash the Sky Sword again. Sure, let's just get a bunch of mana fixing. Wow. All the Combray cards here. I don't hate Pathfinder. Pathfinder could be good. We do want some solid cards for Ageless Mentor. And Pathfinder we're probably just going to play regardless. Safe Return is a sweet one. I think my early game is also looking pretty alright right now. Alright. I'll take an Elysian Pathfinder here. Sure, I'm not going to play it, but I'll take it. Alright, Second Sight. Oh, and a Hatchling and a Sand Warrior. Yeah, Pathfinder is definitely not great in the deck so far when the best card that it can copy is itself. Though copying either of these blue cards is fine. Don't really want to copy Temple Scribe or Combray Stranger, but it winds up being okay. I was going to take the Second Sight because one of the combos that I was going to mention is like you can put a card back on top of your deck with Second Sight and then Elysian Pathfinder it. It's a pretty late game combo, but it does work. But Hatchling is one of the reasons that you draft Elysian in the first place. So I'm going to take a Hatchling. I'll take a Detain. I'm going to cut it immediately. I'll take a Herald Song, and I'll take a Sauropod Wrangler, but I have no intention of playing that card either. Also, don't plan on playing Copper Hall Recruit. This hand is, yeah, like maybe I could have taken another Unlock potential over the second Elysian Pathfinder. Not sure. False Prince, Psionic Savant, and Striking Snake formation. Doesn't really look like a snake formation deck, does it? You really want to be Combray to make the snake formation work. Psionic Savant would be a great card. It's a good card to Ageless Mentor with. The False Prince is also just a really good card. Both of them are good to give Echo. I'm going to go Savant. This card can end games, whereas False Prince is a little bit more defensive, arguably. What does this guy do? Whenever it attacks, she deals damage equal to her attack to a random enemy. That's pretty crazy good. There is a Seek Power here, but I'm going to have to take another Hatchling. What I have been told as far as how Hatchling works, and somebody can feel free to correct me if I'm wrong here, but if you play an Elysian Pathfinder and the top card of your deck is a Hatchling, then the next top card of your deck will actually get that Echo trigger. Don't want to play Assembly Line. Don't want to play Crown Watch Paladin, really. I guess I will. There's nothing else here. I don't really want a Predator's Instincts in this deck. Though it's good with Teleport and potentially Bounce. You just don't have any creatures that look like they want to fight even yet. Alright, I'll take a Crown Watch Paladin. Rakano Banner, Bright Mace Paladin, Ornamental Daggers. Also Valkyrie Aspirant. I think we're off Rakano Banner at this point. We didn't take the big flying dragon. We instead took... What did I take? Like a banner or something like that? I don't remember what I took over the dragon. I think I just took... Maybe Ageless Mentor. I don't even remember. Bright Mace Paladin still seems fine. I just don't think I want Ornamental Daggers here. We have enough Echo cards, though it is good with Crown Watch Paladin. And it's reasonable with the hatchlings, I suppose. So I feel like we don't need more flyers. Alright, I'm going to take Bright Mace Paladin. It's the most solid card, at the very least, too, so... Just getting that's pretty good. I guess I'll take another hatchling. That leaves us with a lot of 3-drops, but they're all pretty good ones. Elder's Feather I don't even think we need in this deck, and Desert Marshal is pretty fantastic. Find the Way is pretty good and would help us splash this Stormcaller, which it looks like we are potentially going more into Combray now than Elysian. Another Psionic Savant, though, is going to give us a good splash regardless. I always see Refresh used and put to good use, but I'll take Tower Top. Scaly Gruon, Sanctuary Priest, which I'm going to cut. Never playing either of those cards, and I'm going to cut Rakano Banner. So Stormlinks is an option, but so is Enlightened Stranger. And, well, if you know anything about me, I'm going to take Enlightened Stranger here. I'm going to slightly more highly prioritize other strangers. But to be honest, I think this is a Combray deck just splashing 2 Psionic Savants. Oh, and all the hatchlings. Right. We're playing all these hatchlings. Divining Rod is interesting, but it's never good. Elysian Stranger is a stranger, a mana fixer, and pretty good. I need to sneeze. Excuse me. This is getting tricky. Because this pack is really, really powerful. Lumen Defender, insanely powerful card. Elysian Stranger will help our Stranger thing. Static Bolt, solid spot removal. Honestly, I have never, ever been disappointed with Lumen Defender. I think Lumen Defender is pretty fantastic. It gains you life, so it's even good in a tempo race against flyers. It's going to trade with anything on the ground, barring a silence effect. And sometimes it can just stick around and completely stop your opponent's aggression. And then you have cards like Psionic Savant that can win you the game on the other side. So I'm going to be pretty happy with a Lumen Defender. And then the question becomes, what is the best thing? So Lumen Defender can get a lot more powerful if you're willing to give it flying. It really can. We can also take a Twinning Ritual when we have 3 hatchlings in our deck. That means this card, more often than not, is going to say draw 2 3 mana, 3/2 flyers. That's pretty strong. This card is reasonable as well, the Serpent Trainer, or we could Amber Acolyte for mana fixing, or we could even take Levitate or Dispel, which are fine cards, and cycle. I'm not going to splash Recurring Nightmare. Pretty much the only 3 cards I'm not going to play in this pack are Katana, Decay, and Recurring Nightmare. It's like maybe an argument for Backlash, but it is the worst card of the playables by far. I wouldn't even really say Backlash is playable, to be honest. Elysian Pathfinder also works with Twinning Ritual, which might be enough to just get me to go in on it. You give the card Echo, and then you can Twinning Ritual, and the card will still retain Echo and a +1/+1. What is up, Strax? How you doing? Alright, Twinning Ritual has got to be the pick there. The card is just so powerful. We'll see how this deck shakes out. Might just be cutting like Tower Top Patrol or something like that. Awakened Student. I can't pass an Awakened Student It's just not in my blood. Lightning Strike is really strong, but Awakened Student is just where it's at. Yeah, Ritual does look really solid in this deck. Then we get an Ancient Lore option. I'm going to take it, but... I mean, this deck is just already so strong. Play a Huru Fledgling when we already have a bunch of 5-mana flyers. But Huru Fledgling is also really good with Ageless Mentor. Stormlinks is playable. None of these cards are playable, luckily. I'll take Predator's Instincts. I'll rare draft. Take a Rebuke, a Sauropod, and a Humbug. Alright, we got a deck here. I'm going to go through real quick and put in any cards that we might play in the deck. Our mana's looking pretty solid too. Alright. So what are we looking at here? 39 cards. 5 of them are lands. So if we want to cut down, we probably want to play 18 lands for this deck. That means we want to cut 7 of these cards. Alright. Let's get cutting. Boom. Boom. 3, 4. Five. So I only need to cut 1 or 2 more cards from the deck. I think I'd like to cut 2. Can probably cut Detain. I just want to take a second and look at this deck here as it exists in its entirety. So I cut a few cards there pretty quickly. Want to look at the direction that this deck is, and some of the cards that we cut could go back in. We actually do have a lot of Primal cards. Our Primal is actually higher than our Justice, and it's a little bit like, if you look at the screen, well, I guess there's 4 green cards and 4 blue cards visible, but invisibly, or there's 5 green cards. Yeah, that is what it is. So there's 5 green cards and 4 blue cards. But there's also, of our black cards, 3 of them are, well, 5 of them are blue. So we deceptively have a lot more Primal cards than we have Justice. Crownwatch Paladin can go. We've got enough 2-drops. And we definitely don't want to be echoing the Crownwatch Paladin. Ancient Lore is actually pretty solid with Hatchling. I've never done that play before. Could cut Detain because it's not that great of a card. Want to make sure I'm not missing anything else here. This would be a 17-land deck. I think we definitely want at least 18 lands. Yeah, I think I'm going to cut Detain. We've got a lot of 5-drops, but our curve stops at 5. And 5-drops are also really good with Ageless Mentor. Like, a 5/5 flyer in Huru Fledgling just becomes insane, and all the other cards are fine enough without it. Unlock Potential's good when we're making this many tokens, and it's the only thing that we have that turns on Bright Mace, other than Ancient Lore and Twinning Ritual, which we can both use to turn on Bright Mace Paladin as well. I like the Combray Stranger to help us out with Awakened Student. Yeah, I think this deck just wants to make sure we can hit our land drops. Especially with an Awakened Student and an Enlightened Stranger in the deck. Alright, so let's cut that. Klumas, thank you very much for the follow, my friend. Hope you're enjoying the stream. I think I'm going to keep the Stormcaller in the deck. And I think I'm going to keep Scaly Gruon in the deck as well and play 18 lands. This deck is solid with 18 lands. It is a little bit low on removal. Our only removal spell is a single Desert Marshal. But I'm hoping that we can just play better creatures than our opponent. And I guess Stormcaller's a removal spell. And Sword of the Sky King is the granddaddy of all the removal spells. 18 lands. Yeah, it's not going to get better the longer we stare at it. How does this sigil makeup look? That means I've got 6 sources of justice. I think I can cut a time source for another justice because all of my banners add time too. So this still gives me 10, 11 with the Combray Stranger. So now it's 10, 8, 6. Is that right? Should I go 9, 8, 6? I don't have any double white, and I do have some double blue. Oh, wait. So now my sources are... Yeah, I agree, Sandwells. Now my sources are 10 if you include Combray Stranger, 8 if you include Combray Stranger, 7. 10, 8, 7. And like I said, Primal is a higher source than Time even. So, yeah, I'm good with that. We do need double blue for Stormcaller. We don't really need to start playing the Hatchlings turn 3. Hatchling can be like a turn 6 play. You play double Hatchling. And you can even hang on to them until you're able to duplicate them or something like that. Sand has perfect mana and a Combray Stranger. Sand is fantastic. All it needs is an Awakened Student, and we can't lose. Alright, well, I don't want to jinx ourselves, but we've got double of all sigil requirements already, so pretty fantastically done here. Smash for 2, get Lightning Striked? Alright, well, they're not going to use it, but it looks like they have it. Or they could just have a Levitate. Yeah, let's...
Safe travels, friend.
Let's get our mana out on the board here. Like I said, I don't really need any more of any one particular thing, so... Doesn't matter at this point. All of our influence is taken care of. And there's no cards in this game that, like... mess with the influence that you have. That would be potentially an okay mechanic, but I don't think one that they're going to explore super quickly here. Let's just play our 4-drop. Sometimes in draft, you don't have to do anything other than... Okay, so it was a Levitate, and it is a Violent Gust. Makes sense. Well, that's going to clear the way for our Psionic Savant. My opponent's on mono blue and just played a Cobalt Monument as their 4th land. That's probably decent for us. They also got the Gus out of my opponent's hand before we played the Savant. So that's pretty lucky. No blocks on that guy.
We shall find the way.
Elysian Stranger and Cloud Snake as a blocker. Hatchling, like I said, perfect turn 6 play. And because I drew the Hatchlings, this gets a +1/+1 for the Echo, which is just quite fantastic. Alright, they're going to trade Strangers, and I'm going to play out a pair of Hatchlings and try to trade with both of my opponent's Flyers here.
Take it to the skies.
Alright, they're going to give it Self-Flying, which doesn't help the Cloud Snake. And then they're going to Permafrost this guy. Okay, so this is dead. That's fine. Let's trade with this. Ancient Lore. Man, this card's going to be so big. Let's Pathfinder before we Ancient Lore. And then let's smash. Could have smashed first. My opponent's trading here regardless. Who needs removal? If you can curve out and spend all of your mana every turn, you really don't need to draw spot removal. Looks like we got a little bit punished there for the order in which we decided to play those two cards, but no matter. And I'm going to play both hatchlings here just in case my opponent has a way to remove one. Because they could remove one and then swing in, and then they've got a blocker for the other one, so... yeah, we're going to trade. Marshal in your deck means that it's still alive. What does that mean? Like Marshal would be a good card to draw off the Echo here. Is that what you mean? Alright, some Echoed +2/+2 Scaly Gruons. Oh! Desert Marshal in my deck means I could silence and remove the Permafrost. So yeah, eventually we would have been able to release our creature from the frost. Yeah, I thought it was dead. I forgot about the silence. I would have realized it if we had drawn it, but all I was thinking is like we didn't have any stalwart shields or something like that. But yeah, you're totally right. This deck has a lot of card draw too, or not a lot of card draw, but a lot of ways to make those savants big with the Echo and all that. So no blue mana with this hand and a lot of blue cards. What do we think? I'm thinking a redraw is in order. I have two cards that I can't play. Yeah, we're going to redraw it. Alright, still no blue mana, but a solid hand regardless. Get ourselves an Awakened Student. And we're in business. Alright, we are still in business here with that Primal Sigil.
The lights gather.
Lumen Shepherd, not a huge deal. As long as my opponent doesn't play Strangers, that's the only awkward cards that our opponent's going to have for us. I don't know why I said that out loud. What I will hope to do here is attack with Bright Mace Paladin, hope my opponent double blocks, and then I can play my Stranger freely.
The speaker approaches.
Oh, okay. Well, my opponent has no sigils. Hopefully they will take this trade. Come on, buddy. Shoot. Okay. The problem is, yeah, that this Stranger's the exact same thing as what I got going on. Alright, my opponent drew some power, which is good. It means we at least have a game going on here, because otherwise we were just going to run them over. I would definitely keep... well, they didn't have Voice of the Speaker in their opening hand, which is interesting. They're going to cycle.
Easy, big guy.
And play a Sauropod Wrangler. Damn, I really want that Stranger. Alright, let's play Savant first.
I have foreseen this.
I don't want to just trade off my Paladin now for Wisp plus Wrangler. That's no good. My opponent could have a removal spell here. They could also have a Towering Terrazon. And what else? We know that they do have a Terrazon. Next turn they have a... oh no, they don't. The card that makes a Wisp, they are unable to play so far.
Mind over body.
Alright, I'm just going to pump up my Awakened Student. And we're going to have to neglect to play the Stranger right now. It's the awkward part of the Strangers. Is that if your opponent has one. It's not that this is a dead card, but I'll be pumping up their guy and making it better than Bright Mace Paladin. Alrighty, and they're going to put another Sigil on top of their deck. So my opponent is set for Sigils for the rest of the game here. They could even have a real Echo card, too.
Take it to the sky.
Towering Terrazon's going to have flying now. Okay. They're going to try to race me. It probably works. It's going to trade with Cobalt, Acolyte, and Wisp. Come on, block with more than that. Damn. Okay. I was hoping my opponent would block with more than that, thinking that I might have more than that myself. It's just a 2-2. I'm going to hang on to it still.
The lights gather.
Oh, they put Lumen Shepherd back on top of their deck. That was a good play. Okay, I think I lose. Yeah, pretty sure I just lose with that one. Well, hold on now. If I play Enlightened Stranger, I can double block the Terrazon. That buys us a lot of time.
We are the infinite.
Okay. My life total is going to get pretty low here because I'm going to take 6 and go down to 5. But that's better than taking it all and going down to 0. So we're taking the flyer out of the air, double blocking it with Desert Marshal.
Think you can escape me?
I'm not sure what the best play is there. I also don't know if silencing a unit that's killering works. Now I'm obviously just trading Student with Towering Terrazon and then trading with Elysian Stranger.
You aren't welcome.
No. Not even doing that. Alright, well, I was going to make that trade regardless. This guy's going to be stunned during my next turn, too. Lumen Defender.
Time used.
That card's really insane. Okay, so I wouldn't have saved it if I silenced. That's good to know. Alright, Lumen Defender, not enough to get me out of this situation, though, because this guy's still stunned down. If it wasn't, I would have been able to block with it and stay alive at 3 life. But no matter. That puts us 1-1, right? Yeah, 1-1. I still think this deck is pretty good. And it's Combray. We're going to get some free wins just by drawing Awakened Student. So that's always good. We almost had a free win that game if my opponent had just... my opponent drew pretty well. They kept a 2-lander and then drew 2 pretty fantastic cards. This isn't an Awakened Student, but I'll keep it. We have a Hatchling and the means to cast it. So, that is good in some universes. Alright, H.O., let's see what you got, my friend. Let's click these things. See what that does. Nice. Alright, Blood Beetle. That is eventually going to trade with a Hatchling, but in the meantime is going to be a little bit annoying. Don't know if my opponent is just doing multiple things, potentially as a weak connection or slow computer. So you can't fault him too much. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Alright. Hopefully we don't draw any more echo cards here. At least not immediately. Would like to just draw sigils. I think if I just drew sigils for the rest of the game, I could potentially win this one. Depends. My opponent could have some pretty nasty cards in their deck, but I feel like we're probably going to be looking at a... Oh no, that is not what I was expecting. Alright, that's a pretty solid draw. 2. I wonder if they were debating between Initiative the Sands and Blood Beetle. That would be a pretty tough choice, I have to say. Alright, and no play turn 3. Opponent probably with a decent amount of removal then, and it's going to be tough for them to eat through these hatchlings. They could have an Amethyst Acolyte, no Scorpion Wasp. Card doesn't seem great.
Thank you.
That card seems good though. How do I want to do this? I think I'm going to trade with the Wasp here. If I hit a land, I'd like to be able to play Serpent Trainer. At which point my opponent can't attack. This means I take a little bit more damage. I don't know, Soul Collector's actually going to be a little bit tough for me to deal with this game. I'm going to turn it into a 5/5, and then I'm not sure how I'm going to deal with it. Yeah, Soul Collector's a little bit tough for this deck, because it actually just is a very big monster. I could just stop attacking and just like play, or stop blocking and just play another hatchling. But I really don't want to do that either. Alright, do also need to draw a 4th land at some point to win too. At some point maybe I will start chump blocking with the hatchlings. Alright. Those shouldn't be a big deal. So basically, if I play the Zenin Guardian, that hopefully stops my opponent from attacking for a minute. Let's give it a shot. At this point now, my opponent will attack with Stone Scar Magus, and I will probably just let it get through. Oh no, Life Drinker. Well, that's pretty clutch. That's also going to make this a 6/6 and let my opponent attack all out. So I think I have to say no blocks and then try to play another 3/3 on my next turn. And hope that that's good enough. Maybe I should have just done that from the beginning. Just said no blocks a while ago. Can chump block it with a Scaly Gruon at some point, but don't really love doing that either. I guess I have to chump block it here, eh? Yeah, I already have to chump block it. Okay. And I have to trade off with this, because now this card's lethal too. Yeah, I think I just fucked up against Soul Collector. It's been a while since I've played that card, or played with it. Or played against it, I mean. I think I just had to stall the game out by not trading off, and then at least the Soul Collector wouldn't be able to attack. And then maybe I'd have enough time to develop on the board here. Stranger's not a 3/3, it's just a 2/2. because I wouldn't get to play it and play. I don't have a sigil to play alongside it. Alright, that one was kind of embarrassing. I didn't draw any lands, so maybe it wasn't totally my fault, but this deck's better than that. This deck shouldn't be 1 and 2 ever, I don't think. There's a chance I'm confused, Strax, but Empower triggers whenever you play a land. So, if you... I'm going to keep this one. So if you just play it on turn 4, like I only had 4 lands. So there was no way I could make this a 3/3, at least not that I'm aware of.
We learned what we must.
Next turn, Bright Mace Paladin. Turn after that, hopefully Enlightened Stranger.
Be redeemed.
Right, yeah. If I drew a Sigil, I would have been able to play the Elysian Pathfinders a 3/3 as well, which would have been reasonable. My opponent's saying tough break. I don't know if that means that he is stuck on mono red and therefore a little bit unlucky, as his name would imply. Uncle Lucky. Or is just baiting me into playing out into a Lightning Storm. I don't think that's the case. I think he's just a little bit Uncle Lucky. And I am not going to give him any lucks, because that's my name. Next turn we can put him down to 2.
Burn it all!
Yeah, I think I just want to lay out my dudes. So if he has 2 blockers, he can go block, take 6. If I draw a Sigil, we have lethal. I can Ancient Lore for a Sigil. Unlucky. Tough break, partner.
On my signal!
Yeah, so we should have lethal here. Yeah, just a Sigil. Play it. Swing with all of my creatures. He can block 2 of my 3/3s. He's going to take 7 damage from my unblocked creatures. Unfortunate. There we go. 5 versus battles with a primal deck. 2/5 of the way there. 143rd. We're getting there. We'll be back on top eventually. I'd like to end a draft at top 100, and then I'll focus on more ranked constructed, I suppose. But I don't know. I'm also just having fun playing. So... Temple Scribe, haven't drawn that card yet. The lands seem fine. We're on the play. I'll keep it. Mostly because the mana's fine. We've got double of everything already, so can't really complain. Unlock potential isn't super powerful early game and in a hand with nothing else in it, but we'll figure it out. I could Twinning Ritual the Temple Scribe here. I'm going to save it. There's better Twinning Ritual targets. It would, like, it does kind of transfer over, because then Twinning Ritual gets to draw you more cards. I'd much rather Twinning Ritual whatever we can Pathfind. That just means we are suiting up for a long one here. You can Pathfinder or Pathfinder. That would be pretty sweet. Could also just Twinning Ritual a hatchling. That seems reasonable to me too. So next turn we have two options. We can go Pathfinder or we can go Twinning Ritual hatchling. I'm just going to go Pathfinder because that'll give us more options into the future.
What gave it away?
False Prince, not a huge deal. Ooh, Savant. Alright, let's play Savant first instead.
I have foreseen this.
Savant and then Echoing and then doing Twinning Ritual and all this fun stuff. We're going to get a big Savant, that means. Unless my opponent can kill it, and they can. Yeah, of course you Static Bolt discard as soon as you can, given the opportunity. I don't have any way to deal with a False Prince in this deck, which is kind of embarrassing. I can double block it with Elysian Pathfinder and a Hatchling.
They're coming!
Which I might be apt to do. Well, then what happens? My opponent teleports my Hatchling. That's like not great, but not horrible. Sure. We'll try it here. Just because we have so much gas in our hand that I think we can win the long game. My opponent's obviously sitting on 7 cards in their hand as well. Alright, let's try it out. Looked safe enough to me. I could have thrown the Temple Scribe in there too so that I didn't take one. But it's a little bit risky for no real reward. Alright, Lumen Defenders. Not horrible. I can make a bunch of Lumen Defenders. And then just unlock their potential later on. Alright, let's try it out. This seems fun at the very least. So now I'm going to get 2/2/6 Lumen Defenders.
Time heals all.
And we're just going to play them all out, and then we're going to unlock potential. We're going to keep swinging with them. They're going to be really difficult to block. Our opponent's going to be attacking us with these Thunder Strike Drakes. But hopefully we can gain enough life points out of them that we can race the 10 a turn that their Thunder Strike Drakes are dealing. What do you say? Eight mana, Lumen Defender, Hatchling. We also have a Hatchling, which is just a chump blocker, or it's some recursive damage back to them. This is a pretty weird strategy, I'm not going to lie. Lumen Defender, Tempo. No blocks, down to 15 here. Which means we're going to survive these next 2 turns. What does my opponent have for us with 4 mana?
What gave it away?
False Prince. Ooh! That's interesting. There's a lot of things Sword of the Sky King can do. But honestly, I'm thinking the best thing that it can do is just trade for a Drake right now. There's no scenario... Oh, wait. We can trade for both Drakes if we keep back the Hatchling. There's our removal spell, baby. So now we go Hatchling, Chump Block on Thunderstrike Drake. Lumen Defender can scare off the False Prince. And Polymorph's going to change that flow of battle a little bit. But still, my opponent has to hit us quite a few more times. And I'm feeling pretty decent. I'm actually feeling pretty decent about our chances at racing our opponent here.
Time heals all.
Next turn is going to be the turn where I go Lumen Defender and then unlock potential. Sauropod just gets chump blocked. Yeah, these guys got to stay back. What a crazy, weird game. Scaly Gruon. Alright. Well, Gruons don't block Lumen Defenders. But I'd like to go... I think I go Lumen Defender, pump my team. My opponent is also now at a point... Yeah, my opponent's got me on a 2-turn clock. Oh, well, not with Lumen Defender, they don't. Right? They've got 9 damage in the air. Oh, no, they've got me on a 2-turn clock, but they need all of their hatchlings to do it.
Time heals all.
Alright, Lumen Defender, go! This is the craziest thing I've ever seen. 4 Lumen Defenders racing Thunderstrike Drakes. My opponent's going to take it. That means any 2 creatures is lethal now. This can block a Sauropod. Alright, they're going to swing for 9. That's only going to leave them with 3 blockers against 6 attackers. They need to play 2 defenders here.
What have we here?
Oh, when it blocks, you gain 4? Wow. What a close game. Yeah, my opponent's not going to be scared off if I like keep some cards back to bluff. For I think they're going to block all of my creatures. They might just block with the Reliquary Raider. Yeah, that's all they have to do. Go down to 5.
I'll find my way.
I'm going to play these 2 guys, hopefully represent Lightning Strike, but I think my opponent's just going to attack here. Can't see them not.
Take it to the sky.
Alright, Cobalt Acolyte also is just lethal. Good game, my friend. That was a really sweet game. But yeah, Lumen Defender with Echo. Doesn't quite race Thunderstrike Drake. Eckhart deals a lot of damage. What time is it here? 3:50. Oh, you know what? I'm actually not going to have enough gold to draft again. This might be the end of our run here. Yeah, I'm only going to have 4,000 gold right now. Alright, well, let's jump into ranked then. I'm going to play some more with this Praxis Volt deck. To win games with a Primal deck to get some more gold so that I can draft. I don't know, that's going to be tough. I don't like that there isn't a casual mode that would like allow me to play Primal decks in, because I don't really have any ways to complete my versus mode quests. But no matter. We'll just try to get some gold the old-fashioned way. By grinding. This hand's pretty solid. Combray Healer if it's an aggro deck, and Desert Marshal for the same, and then Vault of Praxis plus dudes for the late game. Ooh, another Desert Marshal. Up against Clay Davis. Ooh, he's scheming. Now it says Silver 1. I don't know if that actually means that he's Silver 1 or what. Oh, I guess, right, yeah, Silver 1 and Gold 3 are pretty comparable. Alrighty. No need to play my Combray Healer. Just going to wait till I can play Volt. My opponent's deck is obviously slow. if he's scheming. Alright, so every time I draw or discard a card, which is going to be at least 1 per turn. A lot of the times it's going to be 2 or more, though. So now at the end of my turn, I'm going to take 2 damage. Seems like a pretty good tech card against me. I don't have any Furnace Mages or anything like that, and I can't Desert Marshal my opponent, or myself, I guess.
Here is what was.
Do I even want to draw that many more extra cards then? I'm not sure, but I'm going to silence this. I don't know, I've never played against this deck before. I don't know how many cards I really want to draw here. I want to draw a little bit because I want to hit that Zen and Obelisk, but I obviously don't want to go too crazy. Double torch? No, they're going to torch that. Well, that doesn't seem to do anything.
Touch of shadow.
Alright, looks like my opponent's kind of out of gas here. They're probably going to find a removal spell for, or they're going to look for a removal spell for the Sandstorm Titan. Based off however good the card is that Quarry discards. Alright, just a Sigil. That's not too threatening. Alright, they do have the Annihilate though. And then they're going to smack for 3. Obelisk is obviously very good. Feel like I need to play Combray Healer here just to stop taking damage.
Your eyes. Listen.
Zen and Obelisk is a great draw. Yeah, I might just not play my Volt. Okay. Sure, you can have it. That makes my decision easy. So now I've got like 20 turns to win. I think this is reasonable. Okay, I've got 10 turns to win. Just flood the board, try to get my Obelisk online. I'll attack. They can just block. It was actually just a bad attack. Because they might have Lightning Bolt. Oh, and I drew 2 cards that turn. Alrighty. 8 turns to win. Can we do it? Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Let's start clocking them. I will play a Desert Marshal end of turn here. It'll be a 4-3 when I untap with it. Missed. Alrighty.
Think you can escape me?
Alright, I guess I have to silence that. Smack for 8. We got them on a 3-turn clock now. We could still win this game. What a weird deck if my opponent loses. I mean, they kind of petered out here. Another Stray into Shadow. Oh, that was the card they discovered a long time ago? Damn, okay. Well, just need to draw a threat now. I have like 3 turns to draw a threat. Card a unit of your choice. Nope, don't have that. 2 turns to draw a threat. Let's draw some owls right now. Come on, show me owls. Oh shit, Praxis Outlaw. No owls. That's pretty unlucky. So next turn, if I draw owls, that will be good enough still.
Happy hour is over.
Let's hang on to this lightning bolt. Alright, Sandstorm Titan. I've got to be kidding you? Sure. Yeah, I have next turn to play whatever threat I need. Wait, this could do it. Sandstorm Titan plus Stand Together. I just need my opponent to not have a chump blocker. I need them to have a removal spell that I'm going to stand together. Come on, have Annihilate. They just have all sigils? Oh god. I just have to go for it here. Wow. Boom, baby. Sorry, Clay Davis. That was a pretty close game. That was pretty insane. I really didn't think we were going to get there. But got there just in time with the Sandstorm Titan. Need to get 1,000 more gold. Alright, if we're 500 short, then maybe I'll crack open this Primal Quest. I think I'm just going to be grinding some ranked here. But I think I'm pretty much out of gold. Haven't looked at this hand yet. Okay. It's got a lot of the cards we need, but it doesn't have the mana. I'm going to redraw it. This is a little bit closer to having the mana, so it seems good. Combre Banner, then Seat. Guess we got punished there for that sequence. But then we got rewarded.
Safe travels, friend.
So plan is to play Vault here first. I'd like to silence this before we trade off with it. There might be other cards later on that we want to silence instead, but yeah, I'm just not in any particular rush here. My opponent also doesn't even have mana. So we might just be able to win because my opponent is manaless. In which case I probably should have just played Sandstorm Titan last turn. But now I get to use Sandstorm Titan as a way to draw cards with Desert Marshal. Or draw cards with Temple Scribe. This is fine. The thing is, like, yes, I'm playing this slow, even though my opponent is clearly stumbling. I think that still favors me eventually because
It's written right here.
I'm going to be able to just draw so many more cards over my opponent that they shouldn't ever really be able to come back in it. I'll let them trade off now because I kind of stopped caring. They don't even want to. Their 2/2 is worth more against my army of 1/1s. I assume Sandstorm Titan's going to die at the end of turn here, but... Yep. Now, like, next turn we can go Marcin's Disciple. The following turn we can play the Owls, so... We're really kind of killing it. My opponent's drawn out at this point, but the Great Parliament drawing cards is just going to do them in. Yeah, next turn I get to go Vault into Owls, draw 2 cards, make 2 Owls, as long as I do it all in the right order. Torch for the Sandcrawler. Figured that was probably coming, but Sandcrawler's still the right call.
Stone Scar isn't a place for the weak-hearted.
That's fine. Make 2 Owls, draw 2 cards. That might be enough to get a concession. We'll see. Ooh, Zen and Obelisk next turn. Yeah, that's game. And because I've perfectly rationed my creatures, I can go Zen and Obelisk, play 2 creatures next turn. Sure. No box. I'm going to play Zen and Obelisk next turn. There's no point in blocking. I think my opponent has to hope that I trade an owl for that there. And that's the only reason that they attack. No, I can just play Assembly Line now instead. Another Assembly Line, another Great Parliament. All seems pretty solid. Still have Desert Marshal mana open. And all my creatures get +2/+2, actually, so. If they block these, they're still going to take 15 damage, go down to 5, and then I've got Owl for lethal next turn. If they double block one of my guys, that means they go down to 2. Cool. So they'll go down to 2, they'll have the weapon from that guy, and 1 Champion of Chaos left over. Even if they Wrath the board here, giving all creatures -6/-6 somehow, we will be able to play a Desert Marshal, which is lethal. End of turn. Cool, we are close to gold 2. I'd like to get that before the end of the stream. Ooh, a gold chest, that helps us. I don't think I have enough time to do any more drafts today anyways. I do have to end the stream just a little bit early today. But you know what I think I will do right now? Because that's probably the last booster pack we're going to get. I will have enough gold to draft again tomorrow, though. So that's good. And hopefully I can just chain some 7-win drafts off of each other. Let's open up some packs, though. That's always fun. What do we get? Silverwing Commander? What do we get? Azendel's Gift? Not sure if I had one of these already, but that's a cool one. What do we get? Fortunate Stranger? What do we get? Black Iron Manacles. I think I had some of those already too. Let's see which of those cards are new though. Alright, Oath Book was new. Got some new shiny cards as well. Got my last Staff of Stories and Thunderstrike Drakes. So those are solid ones. And my last Protect as well, which is interesting. All the rest of these cards are just shiny upgrades. Got a shiny hatchling somewhere in there. Okay, that was my 4th gift and my 3rd Manacles. Also got my last 2 Spiked Helms at some point. My last Sporefolk and an Infernal Tyrant. As well as my 3rd Fortunate Stranger. Really thought I had more of those, actually. But that's cool. Have my playset of Volcano Artisans. And not only do I have my playset of Volcano Artisans, but I also have Sword of the Sky King. So that's pretty sweet. I don't remember ever opening this guy, though. Cool. But yeah, Sword of the Sky King with the armaments. I'm not sure if that's great, but I've seen that deck floating around a little bit. The only card that I don't have for it is Rise to the Challenge. If you need more than one of those, you probably don't, actually. Probably just one Rise to the Challenge is fine. I think I have one of the... Yeah, I've got one... No, Deep Forge Plate doesn't see play in it. It's the... Oh, I guess I don't. This guy. I thought I had one of this guy. Ikaria the Liberator, but I guess not. No big deal. But this card is pretty solid in the Rakano plus weapons deck. That's all pretty sweet. I think I'm going to stop the stream there for today. It was a pretty fun stream. A little bit short, unfortunately. But I think tomorrow I will be back with... I'll be streaming till like 5 tomorrow instead of till like 4, which I did today. But yeah, I think it was a pretty productive stream. Nonetheless, got some cool drafts in, and there were some sweet games. So thank you very much for watching. If you missed any part of the stream, you can check out my YouTube channel in the link below, in the info below. There's a link to my YouTube channel, as well as like my Twitter and my schedule. I haven't updated that in a little bit, but plan on updating all that stuff soon. As well, if you are watching on my YouTube channel, you can catch me live at twitch.tv/NoLuxGiven. And on my YouTube channel, I post all of my past stream VODs, so if you miss anything, or if you just want to see highlights or anything like that, that's pretty much it. Danilo, have a great day. Everybody else, I'll see you around. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.